Hello, everyone. I just wanted to answer a riddle I asked you over 2 months ago now. It's gonna be a short video, and excuse the noise. There's some background sounds of hooligans cheering because there's a sort of stupid soccer game going around where I'm recording this. But anyways, maybe you haven't heard of this before, but 2 months ago in another video, I asked my viewers, what do dinosaurs and H.P. Lovecraft's Cthulhu Mythos have in common? And I told people, well, I will answer that soon, just keep tuned. And obviously I kept delaying the answer. In the meantime, many potential answers accumulated from my followers in the comment sections. Okay, so let's take this from the beginning. What does the Cthulhu Mythos, written by the turn-of-century author H.P. Lovecraft, and dinosaurs, what do these two fantastic, alluring, geeky, yet seemingly unrelated things have in common? You know, one is a fantasy horror universe created by a turn-of-the-century misanthrope. The other is a biological and geological fact that's getting ever more relevant and fascinating as new discoveries mount up. How could they be related? Okay, so here are some answers by my channel viewers. Let's go over them. Okay, so Spellkilly said, dinosaurs, much like Lovecraft, were notorious racists. Obviously, this is a joke because, yes, in his time, H.P. Lovecraft was, if he was walking around today, people would call him a notorious racist and anti-Semite. But the thing was, many people in Lovecraft's time were like that. Common housewives were like that. Dudes on the streets were like that. Kids were like that. Statesmen were like this. There was no escaping. It was only after World War II and the Holocaust did people realize that racism is not appropriate. Before that, open any newspaper. You'll be surprised at what you see. So let's not connect the person with the work. Usually interesting things are written by assholes, and that's just the way the world is. It's no reason to get sanctimonious, in my opinion. And Spellkilly says dinosaurs were racist too. Obviously, any animal is racist to the max if you pose it that way. Birds kill other birds just for walking into their territory. Ants commit genocide even if they are of the same species. If the competing nest is close to their nest, ants will go at it, So dinosaurs were probably no exception. It's nature red in tooth and claw out there. Okay, so more answers. Ebervalues Ahau answers. Dinosaurs and Lovecraftian creatures are both about good and evil. The laws and morality of man do not apply to them. Yeah, good reply, but not quite what I had in mind. And we'll get there. This is pretty obvious, I guess. It's a bit like that racism thing I just explained a second ago. Bird Comic Studios makes an interesting connection between dinosaurs and Lovecraft. He says, I remember hearing that in one of his stories there were ancient civilizations created by these beings during the Mesozoic. Yes, true. Actually, if you read At the Mountains of Madness by H.P. Lovecraft, this is a science fiction-ish story, book length, one of his best work actually, where people discover this lost city of elder beings in Antarctica. And there's lots of murals and fascinating images on these murals. And one of the murals has something like a large pterosaur used as a flying crane. That's not the bird, that's a construction crane to lift giant blocks of stone to build temples millions of years ago. So yes, in H.P. Lovecraft's time, dinosaur era animals and these deity like space aliens existed together, but still not the quite thing I had in mind. Aqua Titan Max says the common theme is they're both ancient, true, but not the thing. Damu Raptor says, is it because we're both examples of how the universe is so vast and mysterious, and that we humans could barely comprehend what life would be for these ancient life forms? Very good answer. Not what I had in mind, but this is certainly worth exploring more in detail, because if you look at, let's say, the oldest human relics, they're like what? Cave art is 20,000 years old, 40,000 years old. If you go 1,000 times that, you get 40 million years, which is still not the time of the dinosaurs. It's beyond imagination. I mean, we can talk about these numbers, but I don't think any of us could really comprehend what happened. I mean, dinosaurs held sway for nearly 100 million years. Imagine what enormities of time lie within that period and what could have happened. I mean, I talk about this subject every other episode, but there was almost certainly some sort of caveman level intelligence either among the dinosaurs or their relatives that got annihilated by the forces of time. I'm not talking about cities or whatever, but something like an intelligent crow or, an intelligent dinosaur that was smart enough to build tools almost certainly existed and died without leaving a single trace. And the fossil record is quite revealing, but it's actually so incomplete you'd be surprised. So there's a universal mystery lurking there. Thanks, Damu Raptor, but this is not the answer I had in mind. Nice guy Nicholas says something in similar vein. Both dinosaurs and Lovecraftian creatures embody our ignorance of the natural world. Yes. I mean, before we understood dinosaurs as dinosaurs, they were thought to be quite different things. The first labeled dinosaur fossil is actually something called Scrotum humanum, which means, you may have guessed, human balls. This was the end of an Allosaurus femur. The ends of bones are shaped like a couple of balls. I mean, you have to be seeing balls and dicks everywhere, but yes, it makes sense. If you're completely ignorant about geology, extinctions, geological time, sea level sediments, bones, animals in general, if you dig up this end of Allosaur, if you dig this end of an Allosaur femur up from the ground, yeah, it would look like a pair of balls. And Scrotum humanum, it's a funny example of how ignorant people were of fossils. Okay, more answers. CG Senel says, an important event in both of their histories shaped mankind and we would not be here without it. Dinosaurs died out and mammals took over. Lovecraft monsters created all life on Earth. True. And not quite the thing. Okay, going on. Disappointed Turtle, one of my most loyal followers and commenters. Thanks, man. He says, dinosaurs were being portrayed in film for the first time Dinosaurs were being portrayed in film for the first time at the time Lovecraft wrote his books. Or do you mean the fact that Lovecraft's monsters lived alongside dinosaurs and used them as beasts of burden? True points. Actually, yes. When H.P. Lovecraft was writing his spiel, King Kong was coming out, as well as earlier things like Jerty the dinosaur, the first animated dinosaur. And both these points are correct. I already addressed the Lovecraftian creatures using dinosaurs thing, but once again, not the thing I had in mind. And we're getting there, folks. Okay, another answer. Ryan Bowers says, most of the Lovecraftian critters, much like dinosaurs, are dead at this point in time. Only stragglers cling to existence. That could be the right answer. Interesting answer. Certainly not like anything we've heard from our other commenters before. Well said, Ryan. Though dinosaurs, yeah, they survive as birds and they're quite diverse. So if we had to apply this to Lovecraft, it would be that, today we have bacteria and they are very plentiful. They're actually extremely important and at certain cases could be maximally deadly. But it would be like discovering that 1 billion years ago bacteria were giant mountain-sized things and they were ruling the earth and they actually created higher organisms, eukaryotes, as an accident of creation. So that would be an equivalent, but not the thing I had in mind. And finally, ya boy Druzy has dinosaurs and Lovecraftian creatures are monsters. Well, yeah, I disagree with this somewhat. Although, of course, everyone can see dinosaurs as monsters. That's what all the Jurassic movies are doing. But not what I had in mind. And okay, everyone, the puzzle of a millennium or 2 months. Are you ready for the answer? When I said there's a thing that dinosaurs have in common with Lovecraftian monsters, I meant that both are copyright free. Think about this. Everyone had a dinosaur toy kit when they were kids. And everyone had a toy of Stegosaurus, a toy of T-Rex, a toy of Triceratops, There's no Disney that you have to pay license to. Go ahead and try to market a Mickey Mouse toy in mainland America. Lawyers will be on your ass so fast, you won't be able to sit down again. But not the same thing with dinosaurs. You can make dinosaur toys, dinosaur films, dinosaur stickers, dinosaur anything, and kids will recognize them and will want to buy them, and their parents will fork out money for them, and there's not a single entity, personal or corporate, that you would need to pay copyright loyalties to. They are out for the taking. And in a similar way, the works of H.P. Lovecraft are in a similar status. First, because they're old. 100 years have expired since some of them were written, and now they're fair game. And also, H.P. Lovecraft didn't really leave a proper will behind. And this is a very long story, but several parties squabbled over the right to own his works, and nobody won out. And as a result, all of his works are in the public domain now. So nothing is stopping you from collecting all of his stories and publishing them. In fact, you can find them online, free of charge. Think about this. Go on Amazon.com. There's dozens of H.P. Lovecraft books. Each one has a different publisher. And most of them are the same words, but only the cover art is different. Penguin has a serious cover art with their works of Lovecraft. Others have this kind of more hipster images, or there's a H.P. Lovecraft Oxford World's Classics, and Usually these editions have a slightly different introduction, but the content is the same. People are having a field day with these things. And that's why so many new companies are cropping up. They're making these games based on Lovecraft's creatures, so on and so forth. Copyright-free monsters. And now they are getting more and more famous. And this is actually a cheat life hack in the world of publishing. If you have the means to print books, just go online, get all of Lovecraft's stories, or a few of them, just put them together, make a nice layout, print the damn thing. And if you're really creative, you could, pick out the few stories by Lovecraft that have this story about, be creative. Pick a theme and go with it. Pick only the Lovecraft stories about aliens. Or pick only the Lovecraft stories where there's a woman. There's not many. And, title them creatively, saying The Other Sex and H.P. Lovecraft. Stories of Feminism by the great author. There aren't many. But you get the idea. Or do like Lovecraft, Man Out of Time. Stories of time travel by the macabre genius of horror. Be creative. Put a spin on the shit. And you will sell it. If you want on Kindle, you will sell it. If you want to have a couple of those stories and then combine it with your own erotic fan fiction and title it The Erotic Worlds of H.P. Lovecraft, you can do it. Nobody will stop you. It's not illegal. You will make money of it. That's my thing. If you need money, here's a little trick you can turn. Or same with dinosaurs. Just make a couple of molds and, do that. Anyway, so my answer wasn't as deep as some of you guys suggested. Certainly the depths of time, you could talk for hours on that subject, and I will on the long run. But this was more about copyrights. And it should get you thinking about how our creative worlds are being shaped by copyrights. It's a very tricky issue. I wouldn't feel good if someone copied my works and tried to make money off them. But at the same time, copyright laws impair creativity greatly. If everyone was free to copy, edit, without even the need to credit their own works based on other things, we would be living in a far more diverse world in terms of creative human narration. All these fireside stories that cavemen used to tell each other, they didn't need copyrights. Though I think it's also an honor thing. I would rather live in a world where there were no copyrights, but everyone was a kind of honorable knight. And yes, now I've used this music from John Williams' Star Wars suit, but it's on top of the movie I shot of slugs mating. But that world's never gonna happen. I don't know. But think about this. Think what we can and cannot do because of copyright laws. It's an interesting world. Anyways, here was my shorty on the common worlds of dinosaurs and H.P. Lovecraft. And please, if you have any more thoughts about this subject, let's talk on the comment section. Okay, guys, have a nice day. This was CM Kosemen.